There are texts that are poetry, and there are texts that are eternity. Proverbs 31 is both. It doesn't just describe a woman, it reveals the reflection of divine wisdom in human form. This chapter isn't simply a tribute, it's an invitation. It shows the model of a life guided by excellence, where faith, purpose, and strength walk hand in hand. The portrait of the virtuous woman is the portrait of a soul molded by the presence of the Creator. In a world obsessed with appearances, Proverbs 31 exalts what endures. While beauty fades, character flourishes. The virtuous woman is strong yet tender, wise yet humble, spiritual yet practical. She lives not for applause but for meaning, and that meaning turns her ordinary life into sacred rhythm. This video is a deep dive into that mystery, 20 powerful keys that unveil the emotional and spiritual structure of the virtuous woman. Each key is a window into integrity, purpose, generosity, discipline, and faith. These keys go beyond behavior. They define purpose. They show how small daily choices, gentle words, consistent work, thoughtful planning, become instruments of eternity. The virtuous woman proves that greatness begins in the home, and holiness is revealed through ordinary tasks. If you've come seeking inspiration, prepare for revelation. Every verse in Proverbs 31 carries divine codes, timeless wisdom that transcends cultures and centuries. It's wisdom alive, calling us to a balanced, purposeful, and abundant life. As we walk through these 20 keys, you'll see how each one connects to form a symphony of divine insight. Together, they compose the portrait of a life that reflects heaven in every detail. This isn't just a video to watch, it's a journey to live. Each key is a seed, and when planted, it turns life into sacred soil. Before we continue, if you enjoy our videos and feel that they have blessed your life, like and comment. Even if it's just a amen. This makes a huge difference in helping this content reach more people and impact lives. If you are not subscribed yet, take the opportunity to subscribe, turn on notifications, and share with your loved ones. This way, YouTube will get to know you better and suggest even more videos like this to help you on your faith journey. Help spread this message of faith and hope. Every like, comment and share strengthens this work, which we do with all our love to build up your life. Together, we can reach even more hearts. Continuing, there are words that sound simple but carry the weight of destiny. Such were the words of Lemuel's mother. She didn't merely advise him, she prophesied over his future, warning him of the pitfalls that destroy kings. A mother's wisdom is born from observation and pain, from nights of prayer and eyes that have seen storms. Her words are spiritual seeds that, when received, blossom into maturity. Every wise mother's voice is a prophetic echo. It's the Spirit of God speaking through tenderness. She doesn't need a pulpit or a crown, only her voice. When a discerning woman speaks, heaven listens. And when a child heeds her words, his destiny is preserved. The voice of experience is the foundation of every throne that refuses to fall. Lemuel learned that before ruling others, he had to rule himself. His mother's instruction wasn't control, it was protection. True counsel doesn't imprison, it liberates. The heart that rejects correction becomes captive to arrogance. But the one that welcomes instruction builds a lasting path. Even in seasons of crisis, in our generation, maternal wisdom has been drowned out by noise. Many listen to influencers, but few listen to their mothers. Yet there's an anointing resting on a praying lap. A mother who intercedes moves invisible heavens. She plants destinies while the world chases distractions. So whenever advice seems simple, ask yourself, what if this is a prophecy in disguise? Lemuel didn't receive an ordinary warning. He received a map to preserve his crown. Mothers who love with discernment are prophesying without realizing it. They are guardians of kingdoms yet to be born. A mother's voice is the echo of divine love in human form. It teaches without shouting, corrects without wounding, warns without humiliating. A wise child not only listens but writes, reflects and honors. The one who despises counsel loses his way. The one who listens multiplies his influence. Proverbs begins with, "My son, listen to your father's instruction and do not forsake your mother's teaching." It ends with a mother teaching a king. That's no coincidence, it's divine order. Wisdom begins and ends at home. And those who listen to the home with an awakened heart will one day be heard by nations. Before a man can govern others, he must learn to govern his own heart. Lemuel's mother's counsel carries a divine truth. It's not the throne that makes a king, it's self-control. Many crave authority, but few embrace the process of inner discipline that wisdom demands. Whoever cannot master himself will eventually lose mastery over everything else. To rule oneself is to learn to say no when everything inside screams yes. It's understanding that freedom without limits is another form of bondage. True royalty isn't expressed in gold, but in balance. The wise king knows his greatest battle isn't external, it's the chaos within that seeks to corrupt his judgment. The crown weighs heaviest on the head that has never tamed its ego. Divine wisdom always begins with personal discipline. Self-governance is the invisible foundation of lasting leadership. Lemuel was warned about women, pleasure, and excess because they symbolize the human passions that derail clarity and weaken the spirit. The man who rules his impulses becomes unshakable before any temptation. The one who yields to his desires forfeits authority over his destiny. Every leader must understand that power without character accelerates destruction. Self-governance filters the great from the merely impressive. A king ruled by his own emotions turns his reign into a theater of vanity. But one who submits to wisdom turns every decision into service and every victory into legacy. Mastering oneself is the greatest miracle. It's harder to control a thought than to conquer an empire. Yet that is where greatness hides, in the silence of restraint, in the balance of patience. Self-control sustains the throne of wisdom. Self-mastery is training for the inner king. It's not about suppressing emotion, but placing it under spiritual direction. It's hearing the voice of reason when the heart demands reaction. Power without control is simply destruction with glitter. Every kingdom is first established inside the person before it manifests outside. Whoever conquers himself fears no enemy, for the greatest adversary is internal. The wise govern their minds, their words, and their emotions with serenity. True rulership begins within, and from that inner reign flow all outward victories. There comes a moment when power becomes so heavy that the mind seeks anesthesia. That's when many kings fall. Lemuel's mother warned him not merely against literal wine, but against every intoxication that dulls discernment. Pride, vanity, flattery, indulgence. When the mind is intoxicated, the heart becomes corrupt and judgment grows partial. Spiritual intoxication is the most dangerous of all because it disguises downfall as delight. Many leaders fall not because they are weak, but because they are seduced by the illusion of invincibility. The wine of ego is sweet, but poisons slowly. It steals clarity, erodes prudence, and makes a man confuse impulse with inspiration. The leader drunk on himself no longer judges by truth, but by applause. It is not for kings to drink wine, says the text. Wisdom doesn't forbid pleasure, it teaches proportion. A king who lives in excess loses the focus of justice. A clouded mind cannot distinguish right from convenient. When justice is corrupted, an entire nation bleeds. Power was given to serve, not to self-exalt. But intoxication, whether of pleasure, money, or vanity, turns service into tyranny. The king who seeks refuge in stimulation loses touch with the spirit. The authority that once came from heaven dissolves. You cannot hear the divine voice when your mind is full of noise. Sobriety is a form of worship. To be sober is to keep the spirit awake while the world offers distraction. It means guarding a clean conscience and a tender heart. Sobriety preserves discernment and keeps wisdom steady amid temptation. When power rises to the head, humility must descend into the heart. Each of us carries an inner throne and faces the danger of emotional intoxication. overconfidence. Fear disguised as control, the urge to dominate. The antidote is the same, vigilance and humility. The wine of vanity tastes sweet at first, but ends in bitterness. Only spiritual discernment keeps us balanced amid excess. The true leader chooses clarity over anesthesia. He prefers truth, even when it hurts, to illusion that soothes. That's why he stands firm while others fall, because lucidity is the lamp of the wise, and self-control is the fragrance of kings. Every kind of power is a test of character. Lemuel's mother told him, "Open your mouth for those who cannot speak." That single phrase sums up divine leadership. Power was never meant for personal gain, but for protection of the defenseless. Justice is the true crown of kings, and compassion is the scepter that legitimizes their reign. A ruler may be strong, but only compassion makes him wise. God's wisdom is always revealed in how we treat the weak. The leader who closes his eyes to suffering loses the sensitivity that connects him to heaven. Power that doesn't bend to lift the fallen becomes oppression. God measures greatness not by wealth, but by how one uses it to ease another's pain. Justice is goodness put into motion. To open one's mouth for the voiceless means more than speaking. It means taking a stand. It's placing oneself between the oppressed and the system that crushes them. It's facing criticism for the sake of what is right. The true king values divine approval more than human applause. To serve the poor, protect the weak, and intercede for the silent is to act with God's own heart. Power without compassion is institutional arrogance. Power with purpose is ministry. Every time you use your influence to heal, teach, defend, or restore, heaven's throne echoes through you. God doesn't recognize titles, he recognizes intentions. Whoever raises their voice for the voiceless becomes the mouthpiece of divine justice. Authority and authoritarianism are opposites. One serves, the other subdues. The wise woman taught Lemuel that to lead is to care. The one who uses power to build bridges, not walls, leaves a legacy time cannot erase. Leadership is not domination, it's stewardship. In an age of selfishness and convenient silence, God still raises voices that refuse to be quiet. The true leader doesn't seek comfort, he seeks purpose. Justice isn't a distant ideal, but a daily decision. Each action that uplifts another is a decree of wisdom signed with compassion. To be just is more than obeying laws. It's to represent heaven on earth. And when a leader understands this, he not only transforms his kingdom, but the hearts of all who follow. Because power, when righteous, becomes light. At the heart of Proverbs 31 stands one of Scripture's most powerful portraits, the virtuous woman. Her strength isn't in adornment or applause, but in the wisdom that dwells within. Appearance may shine for a moment, but wisdom illuminates for generations. The virtuous woman doesn't live to be seen, she lives to transform. Her beauty springs from light within, not reflection without. She understands that elegance is born from integrity. While the world chases image, she cultivates essence. Her power lies in discerning when to speak, act, or wait. She isn't moved by impulse but by purpose. That's what makes her irresistibly admirable. When wisdom fills a soul, it creates a presence that needs no spotlight. She is more precious than rubies. Her worth can't be bought, only cultivated. The virtuous woman invests in herself as a temple, feeding the mind with truth, the heart with faith, and the hands with diligence. She doesn't chase recognition, yet when she speaks, her voice carries weight. When she acts, her actions inspire. Her wisdom is neither cold nor timid. She is gentle and strong, soft yet unshakable. That harmony is her secret, the balance of inner peace. A wise woman doesn't compete, she builds. She doesn't envy, she sows. She doesn't compare. She blooms where God planted her. Appearance fades, but character ripens. The woman who grows in wisdom becomes immortal in influence. Her presence brings calm, her words heal, her faith sustains homes. True beauty is wisdom expressed as peace. The world prizes what glitters. Heaven prizes what endures. The virtuous woman is a steady flame in a world of flashing lights. Her strength flows from above, her serenity from faith, her purpose from divine reflection. She proves that wisdom and grace can dwell in the same heart. Wherever she goes, she leaves transformation. When a wise woman rises, generations rise with her. Her worth is immeasurable, her presence guiding, her story eternal. Before the virtuous woman is known for her influence, she is admired for her diligence within her home. Proverbs 31 describes a woman who plans, prepares, and cares, not out of duty, but out of divine purpose. She understands that the home is the first field of leadership entrusted by God. Excellence doesn't begin on platforms. It begins in the unseen rhythm of daily life. It's in the silence of ordinary tasks that true wisdom proves itself. This woman turns every detail into an act of love. Her hands don't just work, they build. Every gesture, every moment of organization or care carries spiritual meaning. To her, the home is not a mundane space, but a sanctuary where chaos becomes order and love becomes tangible. A well-ordered home mirrors a disciplined mind and a peaceful heart. Excellence requires more than skill, it requires vision. The virtuous woman doesn't live by improvisation. She anticipates, plans, and prepares. While others wait for tomorrow, she's already planting for it. Her daily routine is a divine strategy disguised as simplicity. True wisdom turns the ordinary into sacred. In a world that values exposure, she teaches the power of consistency. While others seek recognition, she seeks results. Her home is not a stage, but a presence. It radiates respect, peace, honor, and purpose. Every wall bears silent witness to the greatness of a heart that serves with intention. Home-based excellence is not confinement, it's devotion. It's where patience, empathy, and endurance are forged. The virtuous woman serves not just with her hands, but with her spirit. Her home is a school of character and a refuge of grace. God begins his greatest works in homes, not palaces. It was in homes that prophets were raised, kings were formed, and saviors were nurtured. The wise woman transforms her space into a birthplace of destiny. She is the steady center holding everything together, even when the world shakes. Excellence, therefore, is not luxury, it's worship. Whoever is faithful in the small will be entrusted with the great. The virtuous woman prospers because her home is the first territory where heaven is made visible. She seeks wool and flax and works willingly with her hands. In this single verse lies a divine secret. Work, when done with purpose and excellence, is worship. God never separated spirituality from productivity. Every act done with love, care, and integrity is a silent prayer ascending to heaven. The virtuous woman doesn't work out of vanity, but out of vocation. Her hands are instruments of the divine. Working with one's hands is a way of turning the invisible into visible. Faith manifests as diligence, gratitude as service. When she sows, plants, bakes, or builds, she's not just performing tasks, she's embodying sacred devotion. Her routine is spiritual because it reflects God's own nature. The Creator who works, shapes, sustains, and provides. The state of our hands reveals the state of our souls. Idle hands expose a disconnected heart. Diligent hands reveal communion with God. The virtuous woman doesn't complain about her labor, she transforms it into ministry. Everything she touches flourishes because her actions are wrapped in faith. Work isn't a burden, it's a blessing. There is something holy in doing things well, even when unseen. Care, precision, and persistence are forms of worship. Modern life separates sacred from ordinary, but divine wisdom reunites them. To work is to serve, and to serve is to honor the giver of life. When hands move in love, the space becomes altar. The virtuous woman finds joy not only in results, but in the process itself. Each moment of dedication becomes an eternal act. Her hands weave futures, and her actions nourish generations. Her labor isn't common, it's prophetic. Sweat becomes offering, and routine becomes communion. God always reveals himself through willing hands. Moses raised a staff, David strummed a harp, Nehemiah rebuilt walls. All were working when heaven intervened. Proverbs 31 echoes this pattern. The kingdom advances through diligent, faithful action. Working with one's hands, then, is more than duty. It's gratitude in motion. It says, "Lord, what you gave me, I will multiply." True worship isn't confined to words. It lives in action. Wisdom teaches that prosperity isn't luck. It's vision guided by action. She considers a field and buys it. From her earnings, she plants a vineyard. The virtuous woman observes, evaluates, decides, and acts with purpose. Prosperity is born when faith and foresight walk together. She sees opportunity where others see difficulty. Her wisdom allows her to plant today what will sustain tomorrow. Vision without action is fantasy. Action without vision is waste. This woman combines both. She sees the field and then secures it. Before she invests, she studies, calculates, and prepares. She moves not by emotion but by strategy. Prosperity follows principles, not chance. Mature faith doesn't wait for blessings to fall. It plants what it believes God will bless. The text shows that prosperity is not about possessions, but about multiplication of purpose. The virtuous woman's success is not driven by pride, but diligence. She doesn't seek applause, but fruitfulness. Every step is guided by wisdom. Her wealth is not ostentation, but testimony that God honors disciplined stewardship. True prosperity endures because it grows from deep roots. While others chase quick profit, she works quietly, investing in what lasts. The vineyard she plants represents long-term vision. The wise understand that real success is a process, not a coincidence. It's patience and strategy married by faith. To be prosperous is to have spiritual vision, to manage earthly resources. The virtuous woman knows when to sow and when to reap, when to hold back and when to release. She plans with prudence, never wasting what was entrusted to her. Prosperity is multiplication of divine trust. Her abundance blesses more than herself. Her family, her servants, her community, all are touched by the overflow. True wealth flows outward. When wisdom governs decisions, prosperity becomes a river of generosity, not a reservoir of pride. Prosperity, then, is obedience in motion. It's focus, discipline, and purpose aligned with heaven. She considers a field and buys it is more than economics. It's faith with foresight. That is the secret of abundant harvest. She is clothed with strength and dignity. These words describe more than attire. They describe armor. Her strength doesn't come from her body, but from her character. Her dignity doesn't depend on possessions, but on identity. She is robed in virtues that cannot be stripped away. Outer garments wear out, but inner garments endure forever. The strength here is not aggression, it's stability. It's serenity born of trust in God, even when life feels uncertain. The wise woman balances firmness with gentleness, authority with grace. She is strong not because she feels no fear, but because she acts in faith despite it. Dignity is the invisible crown time cannot tarnish. Dignity is the mark of someone who knows their worth. The virtuous woman isn't defined by circumstances or public opinion. She walks with confidence because she knows the voice that called her. Her posture is elegant because it flows from within. She has nothing to prove. Her silence often speaks louder than words. These spiritual garments aren't inherited, they're woven. Each trial conquered adds another thread of faith. Each tear overcome strengthens the fabric of hope. The virtuous woman wasn't born complete, she was refined by fire. Strength and dignity are forged through endurance. The world chases status. Heaven values stability. The wise woman doesn't collapse when the winds change. Her strength is anchored in God, so she doesn't bend under pressure. When others lose control, she remains composed. Her dignity lights the path for those around her. These inner garments protect her essence. The one clothed in strength doesn't bow to fear. The one robed in dignity doesn't sell herself for applause. Her steadiness becomes her fortress. Her faith is her shield, and her integrity her fragrance. Strength and dignity, then, are more than traits. They are the soul's covenant with God. They mark those who choose faithfulness over convenience. She walks unafraid because she is covered by virtues time cannot steal. She laughs at the days to come. This phrase is one of Scripture's deepest portrayals of confidence. The virtuous woman doesn't fear tomorrow because her faith is rooted in today. She understands that the future is not a threat, but territory already surrendered to God. Her laughter isn't carelessness, it's serenity. It's the lightness of a soul that trusts divine timing even amid uncertainty. To laugh at the future is an act of spiritual defiance. It's to confront fear with faith, anxiety with hope, and doubt with certainty. The wise woman doesn't deny challenges, but faces them peacefully. Her confidence is not in predictable days, but in a faithful God. While others worry about what could go wrong, she celebrates what God will make right. Mature faith turns the future into a friend, not an enemy. Her laughter is prophetic, a sound that declares goodwill triumph over evil. Light will overcome shadow, and promise will outlive pain. When she smiles, heaven smiles with her. Her laughter is faith with a face. This confidence doesn't arise from naivety, but from experience. She's faced storms before and learned that every pain has its purpose. Each trial left in her the fragrance of perseverance. That is why she can smile when others cry. Mature faith doesn't need to see the path to walk. It only needs to know who leads the way. She smiles because she knows her story isn't ruled by chance, but by purpose. Her laughter is not denial, it's surrender. It's the sound of a soul that learned control belongs to God. She lives one day at a time, yet rests knowing that all days are under His promise. There is transforming power in the smile of faith. It disarms fear, breathes hope, and inspires courage. Those who look at her feel peace because her face reveals trust. Her joy is theological, its belief made visible. To laugh at the future is the highest form of faith. It's silent testimony that fear lost its voice and hope found its rhythm. It's faith that doesn't just wait, it rejoices in advance. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. The virtuous woman's words are not random. They are refined by discernment and carried by love. Her mouth is an altar where truth and grace meet. She doesn't speak to impress. She speaks to transform. Each sentence that leaves her lips is measured, seasoned, and aligned with heaven's heart. Her speech builds, never destroys. Even when she corrects, her tone heals. Wisdom gives her authority, and kindness gives her access. People listen not just because of what she says, but because of who she is when she says it. Her words are born in prayer before they reach anyone's ears. That's why they pierce darkness without wounding souls. Every wise woman understands that her words shape atmospheres. A single sentence can heal a child's heart, strengthen a husband's faith, or bring light to a weary friend. The tongue is both key and sword. She wields it with purpose. Her silence is as wise as her speech, for she knows when to sow and when to wait. Her mouth is guided by the spirit of counsel. She doesn't respond impulsively, but with clarity. Her wisdom is not intellectual pride, it's spiritual maturity. The world may underestimate her, but heaven listens when she speaks. Her words are not echoes. They are seeds of eternity. Kindness guards her tone. She knows that truth without love becomes arrogance, and love without truth becomes illusion. She balances both perfectly, speaking with grace, seasoned by justice. Her speech mirrors her inner peace. To speak with wisdom is to serve with language. Her mouth becomes a channel of restoration, a bridge between heaven and human hearts. She is an oracle of the ordinary, proving that wisdom doesn't shout, it whispers with impact. In every generation, God raises voices like hers, firm yet gentle, bold yet tender. Through such women, the divine word continues to shape homes, heal hearts, and guide destinies. Excellence is not a moment, it's a rhythm. She rises while it is still night. This verse reveals the hidden engine of greatness, constancy. The virtuous woman doesn't live by emotion, but by discipline. Her routine is sacred because she understands that small repeated acts form eternal legacies. While the world sleeps, she sows. Her success is silent, born in the unseen hours. Consistency is the invisible proof of faith. It's easy to start, difficult to persist. But wisdom teaches that persistence is the mother of results. Each dawn, she rises with purpose, not because life is easy, but because she refuses to live without direction. Her diligence is her devotion. To rise before dawn symbolizes preparation before pressure. She doesn't wait for crises to act. She prepares in advance. Her early rising represents spiritual readiness. Those who awaken early in faith never sleep in failure. Constancy gives her an advantage over chaos. The virtuous woman understands that excellence is built in private long before it shines in public. Her unseen discipline sustains her visible results. She is faithful in the little, therefore trusted with much. Heaven rewards rhythm more than intensity. She doesn't act from perfectionism, but from purpose. The goal is not to be flawless, but to be fruitful. Every small, consistent effort becomes a step of transformation. What others call routine, she calls worship. Her constancy makes her reliable. People around her find safety in her rhythm, her family, her work, her faith. Consistency is her crown, because she never stops growing. She never stops giving. Excellence, then, is not a destination, it's a lifestyle. The one who walks with purpose daily becomes unshakable. Her secret is simple but divine. Faithfulness in every dawn, grace in every task. Her worth is far above rubies. Real value cannot be shouted. It is perceived. The virtuous woman doesn't seek validation, she embodies it. Her value is revealed, not demanded. While the world measures worth in visibility, God measures it in endurance. Over time, authenticity shines brighter than appearances. Worth is revealed when seasons change. Many sparkle briefly but fade with time. The woman of wisdom grows more radiant with years because her roots are deep in God's truth. Her value increases with maturity. She becomes gold refined through fire. Each trial adds weight to her worth. She doesn't chase approval. The same hand that plants the seed knows the harvest will come in its season. Time vindicates what heaven has anointed. Her value doesn't fluctuate with opinion. It stands eternal. True worth is not about how many admire you, but how many are transformed by your presence. The virtuous woman invests in what doesn't decay: character, love, faith, integrity. She knows that real beauty doesn't shout, it stays. Time reveals what applause hides. Those who seemed grand fade. Those who stayed faithful shine. Her consistency becomes her testimony. Her worth is silent but undeniable, like fragrance in a closed room. She is not concerned with being understood. She's concerned with being authentic. Her heart rests in God's gaze, not man's applause. That's why she can wait calmly as her fruit matures. Every life has a divine appraisal. The world may overlook, but heaven records. In the end, time honors those who walked humbly and loved deeply. The virtuous woman is proof that eternal value is never imposed. It's revealed. Charm is deceptive, and beauty is fleeting. But a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. This verse unlocks the essence of Proverbs 31. All virtues, strengths, and accomplishments culminate in one foundation: the fear of the Lord. It is not terror, it is reverence. It's the awareness of God's presence in every breath, choice, and word. The fear of the Lord is not restraint, it's alignment. It means living in harmony with divine order. It transforms duty into delight and responsibility into worship. The wise woman's reverence gives purpose to her actions. Without it, all effort turns to vanity. To fear the Lord is to place God at the center. Every decision passes through the filter of His will. She doesn't act for approval or out of fear of loss, but out of love. Her spirituality is not performance, it's relationship. She fears losing intimacy with God more than losing possessions. This reverence produces balance. It keeps her humble in abundance and steady in adversity. She understands that success without submission is empty. The fear of the Lord keeps pride silent and gratitude loud. Reverence is also wisdom's beginning. It teaches discernment and prevents deception. She knows that knowledge informs, but fear of the Lord transforms. That's why she doesn't crumble when the world shifts. Her roots are eternal. The woman who fears the Lord glows differently. Her peace transcends makeup. Her grace outlives trends. Heaven's presence makes her timeless. Her beauty is not aged, it's anointed. To fear the Lord is to walk hand in hand with truth itself. That's why such a woman is praised, not for perfection, but for alignment with the eternal. Before conquering the world, the virtuous woman learned to rule her home. It is within her household that she manifests the virtues sustaining every other area of life. The home is not a small space, it is sacred ground. Every attitude becomes teaching, every word a seed, every decision a construction. The wise woman understands that leading her home is a spiritual act, to serve with love, to direct with grace, and to protect with discernment. Her leadership isn't authoritarian, it's inspiring. She doesn't impose respect, she earns it. Her home mirrors her heart, ordered, peaceful, firm, and full of love. She governs not with the iron of rigidity, but with the softness of constancy. Her wisdom is the beam that sustains the harmony of the environment, and her presence is the compass that guides everyone around her. Leading the home is the highest test of spiritual maturity. It's easy to speak wisely, difficult to stay patient in routine. Yet it's in daily details that character is revealed. She leads without humiliating, corrects without wounding, and serves without losing herself. Her authority flows from the harmony between her words and her life. Every gesture within the home becomes a class of wisdom. When she organizes, she teaches order. When she forgives, she teaches grace. When she stands firm amid chaos, she teaches faith. The virtuous woman doesn't just speak about God, she manifests him in every detail. Her home becomes an extension of heaven because it houses the spirit of wisdom. The home is also the first altar. It's where prayer is learned, gratitude is practiced, and faith becomes visible. The God-fearing woman turns the ordinary into sacred. Managing her home is managing a kingdom, and every act of love is a seed that will bloom for generations. Her leadership isn't about control, but direction. She knows when to speak and when to stay silent, when to act and when to wait. Her power lies not in command, but in inspiration. Leading her home means preparing hearts for the world, her children, her spouse, everyone who crosses her door. And when wisdom governs the home, it inevitably overflows outward. The one who manages small things well will be trusted with great ones. Her domestic leadership is the training ground for divine stewardship. From her hands flow the order and peace that shape generations. She opens her hand to the poor and extends her arms to the needy. In this verse lies one of the most beautiful truths of divine wisdom. Real understanding always leads to generosity. The wise heart knows that true wealth isn't measured by accumulation, but by sharing. What she receives from God, she multiplies through love. Her generosity is not impulsive, it is deliberate, born of discernment. She doesn't give to be seen, but because she sees beyond. She knows that the good planted in others will one day bloom in herself. Generosity is heaven's language. Through it, the invisible becomes visible. Every act of kindness is a prayer in motion. The virtuous woman gives, not because she has much, but because she knows everything she has comes from God. Those who understand the source never fear lack. Wisdom teaches her that clinging too tightly creates scarcity. So her hands are always open. The wise give because they trust, and in trusting they continue to receive. Her generosity is like a river, not a well. It flows, nourishes, and never dries up. To give is also to lead. She demonstrates that service is the highest expression of power. By helping the needy, she reveals God's heart through her actions. Her home becomes shelter, her time becomes seed, her life becomes a bridge. Love in motion is the signature of mature wisdom. Generosity requires sensitivity. She knows when and how to give, and most importantly, with what spirit. True giving never humiliates, it restores. It heals quietly, like sunlight through leaves. Her giving carries dignity. Every act of kindness is also worship. She understands it is better to be a channel than a container. She is never afraid of running out because the hands that bless never go empty. The virtuous woman doesn't hoard riches, she gathers testimonies. Her abundance is not measured in gold but in grace, and this generosity makes her prudent. Those who give wisely also prepare wisely, for generosity teaches foresight, and foresight brings peace. That's why she faces every season with confidence. Her provision flows from divine rhythm. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet. Hidden in this simple line is a profound truth. Planning is faith in action. The virtuous woman anticipates seasons, prepares before the cold arrives, acts before the crisis strikes. She understands that trusting God doesn't mean doing nothing. It means cooperating with divine order. Faith prepares. Planning is the bridge between prayer and provision. The wise woman doesn't live by improvisation. She lives by purpose. Her mind is organized because her spirit is aligned. She fears no future because she has ordered her present. Each decision today is a seed for tomorrow, and she plants intentionally. To plan is to care. She reads the signs of the times, spiritual, emotional, and material, and adapts wisely. She isn't controlling. She is prudent. Divine wisdom doesn't eliminate effort. It multiplies its effect. Planning is collaboration with God's foresight. Her organization is an act of faith. Each plan she makes in prayer becomes a declaration of trust. She doesn't act out of anxiety, but from awareness. Her calm in the storm is not luck, it's preparation. Prudence shields her from chaos. Her planning is also emotional balance. She lives in the present but prepares for the future. She knows those who prepare rest more peacefully. She understands that peace doesn't come from absence of problems, but from presence of order. Spiritual maturity unites faith and reason. She doesn't separate them, she harmonizes them. Planning transforms promises into outcomes. The fruit of her discipline is stability, abundance, and peace. What the world calls predictability, God calls wisdom. Prudence is the anticipation of faith. Whoever prepares doesn't just survive the storm, they dance beneath the snow. Her children arise and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. This verse crowns the silent perseverance of the virtuous woman. She never sought recognition, yet recognition found her. Time, cruel to the false, is kind to the faithful. She learned to wait, not passively, but confidently. While others hurry to prove their worth, she lets time testify for her. True recognition is never demanded, it is attracted. It comes when character has matured, when quiet actions bloom, when love lived consistently becomes legacy. The world's applause is loud but fleeting. The recognition from heaven is quiet but eternal. Her praise comes from those who saw her up close. The children who grew under her care, the husband who witnessed her steadfast faith, the neighbors who felt her kindness, all become voices of testimony. She never needed to promote herself. She simply stayed faithful. Time did the rest. Recognition isn't vanity, it's validation of faithfulness. It's the echo of a life lived well. Praise doesn't inflate her, it reveals her maturity. The wise woman understands that honor is not an end, but a consequence. There's a kind of reward that only comes after many seasons, and that is the one that matters. Time exposes the shallow and reveals the solid. Those who plant in love harvest in peace. The woman of wisdom knows every seed blooms at its appointed time. Recognition arrives like fragrance. It can't be forced. It simply flows. People notice, fruit speaks, and God confirms. Compliments don't change her, they simply confirm what was already true. For those who live to please God will inevitably be exalted by Him, and it is in this quiet exaltation that Proverbs ends, exalting wisdom embodied in a woman. She becomes the living reflection of everything the book sought to teach, God's wisdom expressed through love, work, and grace. Proverbs begins with wisdom cries out in the streets and ends by showing wisdom alive in a woman. She is the book's conclusion and embodiment, wisdom personified. Every action she takes is a proverb lived, every gesture a divine lesson. She doesn't preach with words, she preaches with presence. This wisdom doesn't seek spotlight, but purpose. She isn't just an example for women, but for humanity. Her life proves that spirituality and practicality can coexist. In her routine, there is theology. In her labor, worship. In her leadership, humility. She demonstrates that faith can be tangible and holiness can live in everyday details. In a world that mistakes knowledge for wisdom, she reminds us that true wisdom transforms. Her discernment shows in how she reacts, decides, and treats those who can offer nothing in return. She is the visible reflection of God's Spirit at work in the ordinary. She is the echo of every lesson in Proverbs, prudent as the ant, strong as the lion, alert as the watchman, patient as the farmer. In her life, the promises of wisdom are fulfilled. Long life is in her right hand. In her left are riches and honor. She is the harmony between the divine and the human. The virtuous woman is wisdom with a face, voice, and hands. She is the balance of strength and tenderness, reason and emotion, faith and action. Her life is a sermon that speaks without words, and her presence is a mirror of the Creator among humankind. Those who observe her learn without realizing. She teaches patience, purpose, faith, and enduring love. The wise woman is heaven's proof that wisdom is real, practical, and transformative. And when the book closes, one truth remains. The wisdom embodied in her is a reflection of God Himself. The one who teaches, guides, protects, and provides. In Him, all things find meaning, and through her, that meaning becomes visible. The woman who fears the Lord shall be praised. This is the final revelation. The fear of the Lord is the secret of all greatness. It is the root of every virtue, the source of every strength, and the purpose behind every act. It is the beginning and the end of wisdom. To fear the Lord is to live aware of His presence in every decision, every silence, every task, and every dream. This fear is not terror. It is sacred awareness. It's the consciousness that nothing is mundane when done before God. The virtuous woman doesn't act to be seen. She acts because she sees the one who sees her. Reverence transforms routine into worship and the ordinary into holy ground. The fear of the Lord gives depth to existence. It turns work into devotion, the home into ministry, and words into eternal seeds. Whoever fears God lives with balance, knowing that all belongs to Him. Time, gifts, achievements, and even silence. Reverence is the thread weaving together all virtues: strength, generosity, prudence, perseverance, and love. Without it, wisdom becomes appearance. With it, wisdom becomes power. The fear of the Lord purifies intention and illuminates truth. The virtuous woman doesn't chase the extraordinary, she reveals it. Those who fear the Lord move to the rhythm of eternity within time. Their actions show that heaven can dwell on earth when the heart bows before the Creator. The book ends, but the lesson lives on. Wisdom is not a destination, it's a way of life. And the fear of the Lord is its secret. The power to turn the common into sacred, the simple into profound, and life into eternity. Proverbs 31 doesn't end. It continues. The virtuous woman is not a figure of the past. She is a prophecy still unfolding. She is proof of what grace can do when it finds a willing heart. Her strength is faith, her dignity is character, her beauty is wisdom born of reverence. That's why her story never fades. Everything we've learned, discipline, prudence, generosity, diligence, serenity, and faith, points to one truth. Greatness is quiet. It doesn't demand to be noticed. It simply endures. What sustains her isn't applause, it's God's presence. The wisdom that shapes her life is available to us all. It transcends gender and generation. Whoever walks in reverence, purpose, and love reveals the same divine pattern. The virtuous woman is not an ideal. She's a mirror, reflecting what happens when humanity aligns with heaven. Proverbs 31 is therefore not about perfection. It's about transformation. It's the story of those who rise every day in faith and rest each night in peace, knowing they've done their part. The virtuous woman wasn't born ready. She was shaped by grace, refined by trial, and illuminated by faith. May this message awaken in you the desire to cultivate living wisdom. May each key become practice, and may reverence be the foundation of your strength. Let your life become testimony that the presence of God turns the ordinary into the eternal. For in the end, that is what the text declares: beauty fades, strength wears out, but the fear of the Lord endures forever. It is the inheritance of all who walk the path of virtue, the path that turns simplicity into holiness and life into eternity.